Okay, everybody, welcome to the latest episode of All Too Real 2. My name is Michael E. Cullen II, and with me, as always, is...
Hesseman, Navigator, and Cartwright.
Navigator. Are you lost?
Yeah, kind of.
Are you like a
little bit
like a navigator, like in the true sense, or like a philosophical navigator that can help us all find the meaning to life?
A little bit of both, really.
That's good, because I have some questions for you.
Sure.
First one is why?
Why what?
Just why?
No, that's my answer is why what?
Oh, that's deep.
Because what comes after why?
Ooh, where?
I don't know.
Who?
I don't know.
When?
It kind of reminds me of this, what band was it? Flower Kings or Beardfish, like some progressive rock band from Europe. And then it's like this guy like finds like some Buddhist monk or something, like he's searching for the whole time, and then he's like, what is the meaning of life? And then the monk says, the meaning of life is a beanstalk, isn't it? And that's like intro to the song. It's like
I always
he goes all this way.
I always determine people based on like when I ask them what the meaning of life is, and if they say 42, I think they're cool because that's what the meaning of life is in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I've had a lot of people recently, which I've been very happy with, that actually say that. A lot of people, when I answer that, they look at me like I'm insane. So
you know, like, what are you talking about? Yeah.
But speaking of like things that deal with space, though, like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, this week on the show, we're covering a movie for what I'm calling our ALL2-80S series. This is looking at one of my favorite movies as a kid called Flight of the Navigator, which came out in 1986. It was directed by Randall Kleiser, screenplay by Michael Burton and Matt McManus, story by Mark H. Baker. So yes, it's a very classic, cult classic film. According to the Internet Movie Database, the basic plot of it is that in 1978, a boy travels 8 years into the future and has an adventure with an intelligent, wisecracking alien ship. That is not really everything that happens, though. But anyway, so...
Right.
That's kind of a lame description, in my opinion, for what actually goes on in this great film. So what was your initial reaction to this film, watching it? And was this your first time seeing it?
It was my first time that I remember seeing it. I probably saw it a few times when I was a kid, but I don't remember. No, I watched it twice. I just watched it again earlier tonight. Yeah, I loved it. I mean, I thought it was great. The acting was great. The special effects were really cool. Just the cinematography was just really, really good. Like music, awesome, great ambient music for like the more quote unquote scarier. I mean, not really scary.
Yeah, Alan Silvestri, who people will know as doing the Back to the Future soundtracks, scores as well as like a million other movies. But just prior to this, he had done Back to the Future, so he did the music for this movie.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I just really liked it. I like the cute little creatures that show up and like the little robot things, like just like so 80s, like just like movies, like almost like pinnacle 80s in so many ways.
Yeah.
We got to see Sarah Jessica Parker, a young Sarah Jessica Parker, which was pretty cool.
Indeed. Yeah.
What's that?
I said indeed. Yeah.
Oh, indeed. Yeah. She's got purple hair at one point, which is kind of cool. She plays like an intern type of character. She has this cool little robot food deliverer thing that she oversees, which is pretty cool. I love that robot, Ralph. I love that robot. Yeah, no, I just liked it. I thought it was really, really good. Yeah, that's all I could say, really.
Yeah, it's a very, very imaginative film for its time and everything, and the special effects were kind of groundbreaking. the ship was like one of the first major uses of CGI in a film. Yeah, and it even inspired James Cameron to use similar effects when he made the Terminator, when he made Terminator 2 and he made the T-2000. So yeah, because it was like the first way of using a reflective surface as a computer image. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense now, because like when the stairs are like this liquid silver shit. Like,
yeah.
Now that I think about it, that looks a lot like the dude from T2.
Yeah. Robert Patrick.
Yeah, pretty. Yeah. I forgot his name. Sorry.
Yeah, Robert Patrick. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a lot.
Yeah. So basically, I kind of in this episode, I want to kind of take a detour from what we normally do. We can kind of go over the basic plot of this movie really quick, but then maybe dive into some trivia from the movie. Does that sound good to you, Sesame?
Yeah, some trivs.
Okay, so basically, the main plot here is that on July 4th of 1978, in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, David Freeman, a 12-year-old, walks in the woods to pick up his 8-year-old brother Jeff from a friend's house, and then he falls into a ravine, is knocked unconscious. But when he wakes up, 8 years have passed, and it's now 1986, and he has not aged at all. And then he basically goes, to his house, and his family doesn't live there anymore, and some older couple lives there, and he's like freaking out and cries on the stairs and stuff, and he just wants his mom and dad. So at the same time, there's a alien spaceship that crashes through some power lines and is captured by NASA because that's the way they do it. And this Dr. Louis Faraday, who is played by Howard Hesseman from Head of the Class in WKRP in Cincinnati. By the way, the rest of the cast, I'll go over that really quick. Joey Cramer plays David Scott Freeman. Veronica Cartwright plays Helen Freeman, his mom. Cliff DeYoung plays Bill Freeman, his dad. Sarah Jessica Parker plays Carolyn McAdams. I'm sorry, not McManus. Matt Adler plays Jeff Freeman as a 16-year-old. Albie Whitaker plays Jeff Freeman as an 8-year-old. Paul Reubens, credited as Paul Mall because he didn't want his name to be revealed, plays the voice of Max, the spaceship. Jonathan Sanger plays Dr. Carr. Iris Acker plays Janet Howard. Richard Liberty plays Larry Howard. And Raymond Forcione plays Detective Banks. And then Carrie Rogers plays Jennifer Bradley. Really quick, other actors considered for the role of David Freeman included Joaquin Phoenix and Chris O'Donnell. So Joey Cramer beat out both of those future stars. So,
yep.
So basically, though, we got this thing where the NASA finds this spaceship, and they're like, whoa, there's a spaceship. Like they do. And
like, whoa. Yeah.
And so they're trying to study it, and basically David is like, finds his family find him, and he's being studied by this doctor, and he's like, dude, I haven't changed. I'm still 12, and his brother is older than him now, and he was younger than him before, and shit like that.
Yep, that's a mind fuck right there.
Yeah. But then Louis Faraday, the doctor, gets in hold of him and basically convinces David and his family to let him spend 48 hours at NASA so they can, basically use him like NASA does people. Oh, wait.
Yeah, just do a bunch of tests and exploit him, for his knowledge that he might have of another planet, things like that.
And so David is there, and he's like, he gets visited by Sarah Jessica Parker's character to, he gets put up in this room, and he's got all the latest toys and shit, and he's watching TV and kind of wondering where the fuck is Starsky and Hutch on TV, and being amazed or scared by music videos. And so he secretly devises a plan to sneak out of there when he finds out they want to keep him more than 48 hours with Sarah Jessica Parker's character of Carolyn. She helps him escape through this robot thing that she has called Ralph, which is like this robot that has the food on it and stuff for no reason whatsoever, because I don't really see any point to that being there. And she could have just been delivering the food and shit on a tray or a cart or something, and didn't need like a robotic dog looking thing or something,
But he's so cute. Ralph is such a cute little robot. God, he's so cute.
I know he is, but I just think it's funny.
I know it is, and it's such a waste of time and energy just to follow this really slow, clunky robot around, where she's the one that's even guiding him in the first place. So it's like, what's the point?
Exactly. It's like it's not even like artificially intelligent or anything. It's just
right.
But yeah, she basically hides him inside of that, and he sneaks away, and then he everybody's looking for him on the base, and then he gets inside the ship somehow because he finds the ship, and then he gets inside the ship that he has no memory of what happened in the last 6 years or whatever since he's been gone. So it's like, since you've been gone. Oh, sorry. Anyway, so the he gets inside the ship, and then he realizes he has like a telecommunication. First off, he realizes he has this like telepathic communication. I can say that, right? With the ship. He secretly boards it, and he meets this robotic commander who introduces itself as Trimaxion Drone Ship. He decides to call it Max. And Max calls him Navigator. And the movie is The Flight of the Navigator. So that's the title. So they escape from the facility, and he basically we realize that the ship has been collecting biological specimens from around the universe or galaxy for analysis on their planet of Phalon. Then they're going to return them back to their homes, and they basically are not supposed to know anything happened. And but Phalon scientists discovered that humans only use 10% of their brains, which, by the way, is not true. Anyway, so
I know that's such a myth. Yeah. I know.
Yeah. And as an experiment, filled the remainder of David's brain with miscellaneous information, about their ship and all this other shit. And so Max returned him to Earth, but not to his own time, having determined that a trip back in time would be dangerous for a human. When he crashed the spaceship, the data banks were erased, so he needs the information that's inside David's brain to so he can return home. So he's using David as well, like NASA was.
Exactly. None of these people are good guys, except for Sarah Jessica Parker.
Yes.
And Ralph DeRoe. By the way, just for a quick note, this Sarah Jessica Parker's character almost accidentally affirmed non-binary people way back in 1986. I know that's not what she was saying, but because she said she went to a Twisted Sister concert, and then David says, "I've never heard of her." She goes, "Actually, it's a him." He goes, "Actually, it's a them." Yes. She means the band. But still, I thought that was interesting, because the band was all cross dressers, and they were kind of pioneers in that sort of like gender expression or that kind of
glam rock sort of thing. Yeah.
I thought that was it
was kind of interesting. Yeah. She also I'm assuming her character is an adult, and
maybe,
I don't know, because she tells David, a 12-year-old, that she thinks he's cute. So I'm like, yeah.
She just, older girls sometimes would do that back then.
I'm just joking.
What seems weird, that was like part of the culture.
It was always fine for that, though. But I mean, imagine if the roles were reversed and it was a 12-year-old girl.
No, I know. That's the thing. Sometimes, obviously, there's different standards for. Yeah. No, I can totally see a 18-year-old guy, or maybe 16-year-old guy or whatever, intern or whatever.
Yeah.
Saying that to a 12-year-old 4th girl. Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's talk right now that they're developing a remake or a reboot of the movie with a female protagonist. So
okay.
So that Bryce Dallas Howard was possibly going to direct, and instead of David, it would be a girl. So yeah, if they redid that scene, it would be a little different if they changed sex.
They're probably not going to.
I know.
Yeah, they're probably not going to every beat for beat every scene, but I'm pretty sure they wouldn't do that with the way culture has changed. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Anyways, they go off and they're flying away and going through some adventures and shit, and they fly from places like all the way to Tokyo to.
Yeah, that's right, Tokyo.
Yeah, and so Carolyn at one point, who had befriended David, tells his family about the escape in the spaceship, and then Faraday has them confined to their house, and then Carolyn basically gets in trouble for doing this, like it's like government overreach here, and yeah,
I didn't realize NASA has the authority to imprison people or confine them to their homes, but I guess they do. Well,
that's a little known fact. All these people that are missing in the world, they're secretly at the Kennedy, NASA base, and they're in an underground bunker,
right,
where their food is served to them on a dog-like robot, and all these missing people over the years, so all those episodes of Unsolved Mysteries could be solved really easily, but
they're all just in this one center, like in wherever they were. Ralph, there's just no changes to Ralph. There's no technological advancements. He's just the same as he was 40 something. It's like
but basically he ends up stopping at a gas station at one point, and where basically there's like this they have some fat shaming of this guy that runs the gas station, which and he calls Jeff up at the house, and tells him to Jeff decides to set off fireworks on the roof so they could locate the new house, because David doesn't know where the new house is. My thing about it is he called Jeff up. Why didn't Jeff give him the fucking address?
Exactly. Well, I guess maybe you could argue it. Maybe they were tapping the phones, but even then they were still hearing the conversation. So, you know what I mean? It's I know.
It's like Jeff, be like, we live at it's 2545 East, whatever street, like just tell them the fucking, So anyway, but maybe the ship doesn't have good GPS. I don't know what the fuck,
Right.
There's all these like cool specimens on the ship too as well that we find out about. One's like a gooey thing that has a cold, and there's like this cute little one that David like befriends and shit.
Right.
So they arrive at the house, but NASA has tracked the spaceship, and like David's like afraid that he will be institutionalized and treated like a guinea pig at NASA, which is probably true. If the remainder of his life, if he remains in 1986. Right. So he orders Max to return him to 1978, accepting the risk that he might be vaporized or killed in the process of the time travel. So he's a brave little kid. And then he basically returns, walks home, finds everything now as he left it. And during the 4th of July celebration, Jeff sees this little, creature that David befriended in David's backpack. The thing is called a Puckermarin. Puckmarin. Puckmarin, not Puckermarin. Puckmarin. Okay. Puckmarin, yeah. It's a little known, it's spelled differently, but it's a little known relative of Mark Maron. And,
he was just going to visit him recently.
Yeah. The Puckmarin ends up, becoming the creator of interview podcasts. And, no. So then the fireworks are going off in the sky, and then the spaceship flies home across the fireworks and says, "See you later, Navigator," and then laughs similarly to Pee Wee Herman. So that's our plot. Do you want to hear some trivia here?
Yep, sure.
Okay, so it did not begin its life as a Disney film because it was released by Disney in the United States, but not elsewhere actually too. So it's technically a Disney film, but not really a Disney film. It started out as an independent movie being made by a Norwegian company called Viking Film. Unfortunately, Viking Film had to declare bankruptcy right in the middle of the shoot, and Disney eventually distributed the movie in the United States. They were approached by Viking Film when they realized that the project would just be left abandoned otherwise, but Disney weren't actually crazy about it at first. They had just released Return to Oz. If you've ever seen that Nightmare Fuel, you know why the live action fantasy films at Disney were kind of
yeah, that's a weird one.
Yeah. That said, they basically agreed to team up with a distribution company and promote the film worldwide while they focused on just basically the U.S. distribution. There's numerous connections to Grease in the film, to the movie Grease. Flight of the Navigator has a number of connections. Both films are directed by Randall Kleiser. So that's kind of weird. Later on, though, Randall Kleiser also directed Honey, I Shrunk the Audience attraction at Disneyland, which explains why Disney were eventually, happy with him and stuff. As for other Grease references, the movie is set in the year that Grease was made at the beginning in 1978. Also, there's a scene where they're in a car and on the radio in the car, You're the One That I Want from the Grease soundtrack is playing. It was the movie debut of Sarah Jessica Parker.
Okay.
So yeah, and Sarah Jessica Parker she had already been on TV and on Square Pegs, among other things, and soon after this, she also was in another movie, L.A. Story, with Steve Martin, where she's kind of like a love interest to Steve Martin. So there's that. So Flight of the Navigator, due to it being a partial Norwegian financed film, they had to film part of the movie in Norway.
In Norway?
Yeah. Oh, okay. So director Randall Kleiser has revealed that they used a Norwegian stunt double by filming Joey Cramer's steering of the spaceship. So behind of him, they built the spaceship in Norway, and behind him there's a stunt double that's doing that. Unfortunately, he didn't understand a single word of English.
Oh God!
So if Kleiser had said for him to move left, they translated it from English to Norwegian. But by the time the boy would move left, he should have already been going right, because they had a rear projection screen in front of him showing like him traveling across the planet and whatnot. So yeah, it took a long time to get the stuff done right. The special effects were cutting edge at the time, like we said. So the whole like CGI use in the movie was like groundbreaking. The soundtrack was created by digital synthesizers, mainly because they couldn't afford it was one of the first using the world's first digital synthesizers. And it was basically because they couldn't afford a whole orchestra. So Alan Silvestri did the whole film on a synthesizer.
Wow.
Yeah. The spaceship can still be seen at Disney World. If you've ever taken a trip to Walt Disney World in Florida, then you may have spotted Flight of the Navigator's spaceship, because one of the spaceship holes used during the filming process is now part of a drinks station in Tomorrowland, which is located in the Magic Kingdom. Unfortunately, see, it used to be on this backlot thing that they call the Boneyard, where they had like old props and cars and stuff from movies, and they basically let it like rust out and shit. And but now it's part of this drink station, but they painted it red and like added fins and shit to it, and it looks nothing like it did in the movie. It just looks like a generic spaceship now. Yeah, so it's kind of sad what they did to the ship.
Right.
Yeah. So let's see here what else we can talk about. Yeah, like I said, a reboot is possibly in production, but it keeps getting, people saying that they're going to do a remake or a reboot, and then it's like been in development hell for years. So who knows if it'll ever happen. It could be interesting. Yeah.
I hate that part where it just takes years upon years to make a film that you could just easily start making, but all the bureaucratic bullshit gets in the way.
Oh yeah, and it probably wouldn't be cheap to make this too, but so.
Oh no, it wouldn't. Yeah, it would definitely cost some money, sure.
Yeah. So yeah, and it's just funny because they they shot most of the movie in Florida, but they had to shoot some stuff in Norway, and so it was like really hot there, but then they had to shoot those interior shots in Oslo, Norway, and in a giant empty warehouse. They could have easily stayed in the U.S., but because of the funds, they thought they had to do that. But then eventually, with like companies going bankrupt and stuff, they basically wouldn't have had to do it in the long run. So, Kleiser also made Honey, I Blew Up the Kid as well. So, he directed that movie. Another Disney movie.
Classic movie.
Joey Cramer, the actor who played David, unfortunately has had a tough life. You can see a lot about that in the documentary Life After the Navigator, which I highly recommend watching as a companion piece to this movie.
It's good.
Yeah. He was only 13 years old when he played the character. His life was kind of not the greatest in a lot of ways. He was arrested on multiple occasions for relating to drugs, firearms, and forgery. He's kicked his addiction, and he seems to be doing a lot better now. He was arrested for a bank robbery that he claims he did just so he could get back into jail, so he could get the help he needed for his drug habit, because that's the only way he could get the help he needed. Was if he was incarcerated, he could get the help, but he couldn't afford it otherwise.
Or also too, with rehab, you could sort of check yourself out.
Yeah.
Right. So he figured, well, they can't just let me out. I feel like that's like, that is really sad, where your best bet is jail.
Yeah. Sarah Jessica Parker doesn't remember the movie at all.
Okay.
Yeah. She might owe her entire career to the film. But she wasn't actually a fan of the movie at all. In fact, she can't remember the character she played or even the plot of the film, since to her it was nothing more than a paycheck.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's kind of mean.
Yeah, that's what she said in an interview later. Who knows? It could have been a bad day when they asked her, because the person asked her the question, what drew you to Flight of the Navigator? And her response was, what drew me to Flight of the Navigator? Are you seriously asking me what drew me to Flight of the Navigator? It was a part, like literally, I just got a part. I went and did it. That's what I did for most of my career. Nothing drew me to it. It was a job. That's exactly a paycheck. That's exactly what drew me to it. She says, I can't even tell you what it was about or who I played. All you want is a job. You're auditioning. You want to have as much experience as possible. It was great. That's what she said. NASA's villainy, this is something really interesting too. Okay, NASA's villainy is actually foreshadowed in the movie in an interesting way. So when you go into the room that they put David in there, there's all these toys on his bed. They gave him a bunch of new toys and action figures, but the characters that they gave him were all villains.
Oh, okay.
They gave him like a Cobra water moccasin from the G.I. Joe toy line.
Okay.
Transformers, Decepticon, Shrapnel. So you, and among other things on there. So you basically got the bad guys from G.I. Joe and the bad guys from Transformers on his. So basically, kind of implying that they're bad guys. So, yeah,
it's interesting.
Yeah. It had some. Here's an interesting thing. It had some weird box office competition when it came out. It didn't make much money, or as much money as expected, at least. It actually opened third at the box office, and it's kind of normal, but it opened behind the third Friday the 13th movie, which is one of the more lower-rated films in the series anyways. But it also opened up the same week as Howard the Duck, a film we've previously covered on this podcast. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, basically, those were the number 1 and number 2 movies in the country, and it was number 30. So, yeah, and this is also not the only obscure Disney cameo that Paul Reubens has made. After he did this, he liked it so much that he also voiced a robot, Rex, who was basically the pilot of the Star Wars simulator Star Tours for a long time, and now is actually featured as like a DJ at one of the restaurants or bars at Galaxy's Edge at both Disneyland and Disney World. So yeah, and it's only the second Disney movie ever to include profanity.
Interesting. Okay.
So yeah.
What did they say? I don't remember. Oh yeah, something about shit, right?
Basically there was like gods and dams or something in it, and
there was also something like shit from him or something.
Yeah,
like that.
and the only other movie that was actually distributed by Disney was Popeye. So
and Popeye had some swearing in it.
Yeah, with Robin Williams and Shelley Duvall. Yeah, so that's basically what I got about this movie. You got any other things you want to say here?
No, not really. I mean, I only watched part of that documentary, and yeah, you already said kind of what the parts I saw from it about him.
Yeah.
Having, a drug issue, him having although it is interesting because they were saying that he was able to cry almost on command, and like,
yeah.
So I'm already thinking like, okay, already kind of emotionally sensitive. That's kind of,
yeah.
Sometimes, not always, but sometimes an indication of like, maybe like some kind of a mental illness or something.
Yeah, I mean, his dad really wasn't in his life and stuff, and so that kind of contributed to a lot of it. So yeah.
Yeah, but yeah.
And at one point, his dad actually told him to kill himself.
Oh, geez, that's terrible.
Yeah, they patched it up before his dad died, but still, he was having some issues and just wanted to talk to his dad, who he had not really talked to most of his life, and his dad, who was 20 years older than him, says, think you got problems. I got 20 years of problems on you, man. If you're so depressed, you should go jump off a bridge or something like that. Told him. I can't remember exactly, but it's just really sad. That would really fuck with you. Yeah.
Yeah, no, totally.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a sad backstory, but it's good that Joey Cramer seems to have cleaned up his act and he's, gotten the help he needs and everything. So I'm glad for that, and I hope that continues. And he's getting back into acting a little bit here and there, so I hope he does, because he's a good actor, so yeah. Other than that, I think that's all I have to say about it. I mean, I still think it holds up. It's a really good movie. I think, even younger kids would enjoy it. But folks, thanks for listening. Want to remind you to go check out our website, all2real2.com. You can also check out our social media. There's links to all that on there. Also, be sure to subscribe and share the show. Give us a 5-star review if you can. Check out our TeePublic and our Patreon. Those are good ways to support the show. Also, just, tell people to listen. Anybody you encounter, If you got a spaceship and you want to travel the world or the galaxy and tell people to listen to this show, that'd be great. I mean, if you know any Phalons and you want them to listen to the show, let them know, because I don't think we have any...
To be honest, that would be good.
I was going to say, I just don't think we have any Phalon fans yet. So
no, probably not. I was saying, although I would probably be more interested in exploring the stars than doing the podcast for a while. I think I would just be hanging out in a spaceship.
Nah, we could do the podcast from the spaceship.
We carve out an hour a week. That's not a big deal. And like, okay, it's time for you to do a navigating computer, Max. We're gonna do our podcast right now. We'll let you know when we're done.
Yes,
Can I join? Yeah, maybe.
He could be our third co-host. And if you'd you'd like to hear an episode like that, join our Patreon and you can request that, and we'll record an episode co-hosted by Max. We'll figure out a way to make it happen.
Find a way to somehow resurrect Paul Reubens.
Yes.
Somehow.
Yes. I think we can do it. Might involve like a seance or something, but we'll do it.
Got a lot of confidence that we can just resurrect Paul.
We can resurrect dead celebrities.
I mean, why not? The Mormon Church thinks they can like baptize dead people, or like to make sure that they are in heaven now or whatever. And
recently some politician in Michigan had an ad that he had for his campaign where he used AI to create a digital recreation of Martin Luther King's voice to basically tell people to vote for this guy. Of course, the guy was a Republican who has views that are completely opposed to the views of Martin Luther King, but whatever.
Of course, that's what it always is. That's crazy,
look it up. It's creepy. The guy says something like, I had another dream, and it's to vote for... Vote for this dude that I don't agree with. Yeah, basically.
No, that's like generally like psychotic. Like he thought of doing like that.
Oh boy. Oh yeah, don't do that, folks. But so
yeah,
just
don't.
Yeah. So just remember, folks, that I love you. Someday we'll navigate the world together and the universe. Sesame loves you. Yeah. And until next time, bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to All Too Real 2 podcast, a Cullen Park production. Produced and edited by Michael E. Cullen II. Music by Matthew Hawes. Subscribe and share the show. Visit us at cullenpark.com.